We are already 1/3 of the way through the Major League Baseball season. I can't believe it. Time's really flying, but this is an important moment because this is when things start to get real. We finally have actual sample size that we can work off for players and teams. New stars have emerged. There are tons of surprise contenders, while slow starts are no longer just slow starts. There are some teams who had really high expectations heading into the season that are just straight up disasters, and plenty of players who just can't seem to figure it out. So in this video, I'm going to recap the biggest stats and stories from the first chunk of the MLB season. If you guys are not already, please subscribe to the channel for more baseball content. Drop this video a like, sound off in the comments, and special thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Now, starting off with one of the biggest stories in baseball this season, the two teams with the best records are the Tampa Bay Rays and the Atlanta Braves. And that's kind of wild because both of those teams were objectively terrible last season, so now I want to walk through how these teams have found so much success through their first 50 games. Starting out with the Rays, they are 34-17, first place in the American League East, and 22-6 over their last 28 games. That is a sensational month of baseball by the Rays. And honestly, it's pretty remarkable that they found this much success because as a team, they have the lowest hard hit rate in the league, they have the lowest barrel rate in the league, and they've hit the third fewest home runs. All the while being top 10 in the league in runs scored and having the second highest batting average as a club. So when you dig a little bit deeper, the biggest reason why the Rays have been able to win so many baseball games is their starting pitching. Their 2.82 ERA by starting pitchers is the lowest in all of baseball. They have two amazing pitchers at the top of their rotation in Drew Rasmussen and Shane McClanahan who've really gotten it done. Then you have a guy like Nick Martinez who has a 1.5 ERA. Griffin Jax has gone from the bullpen to the rotation and been amazing since that's happened. Steven Matz, of all people, has even had a phenomenal season so far. But otherwise, they have found a lot of success this season with that great piece of baseball that we call timely hitting. The Rays have the best batting average in baseball with runners in scoring position. They're playing lots of small ball. They're bunting. They're taking the extra base. They were doing all the little things right that the old men screaming at clouds wish existed more so in baseball. But on top of all that, they have a big three in their batting order in Junior Caminero, Yandy Diaz, and Jonathan Rondo, who are just raking. Those guys combined are the entire Rays offense. They're the only players on this team with at least 20 RBIs. And they are good enough to carry a team who, again, doesn't seem like they have a lot that meets the eye. I don't know if this amazing play will continue for the Rays, but they are really fun to watch. And again, so far, they are the best story in baseball. And then we have the Atlanta Braves. One of the biggest disappointments last year, having just a catastrophic season, have spun it totally around this year with the best record in the National League. And they're doing things a little bit differently than the Rays. They have the second most runs scored in baseball, the second highest slugging percentage, the second best OPS. While dealing with tons of injuries and inconsistencies in their lineup, I am really impressed. Ronald Acuna Jr. really hasn't gotten going yet. Drake Baldwin looked like an MVP candidate, but now he's on the injured list with an oblique strain. Austin Riley still hasn't really rebounded. Instead, they've gotten great contributions from Michael Harris. Matt Olson looks like an MVP candidate. Ozzie Albies looks back to form. And Dom Smith of all people, is a key cog in the middle of this Braves lineup as a run producer. But also on top of all that, and probably the most important thing, statistically so far, the Braves have the best pitching in baseball. As a team, their 3.04 ERA is the lowest in all of baseball. Chris Sale, absolutely unquestionably still an ace. Like, it's honestly amazing how effective he still is entering his late 30s after all the injury-riddled seasons he has. And on top of that, the rest of this rotation has come together kind of shockingly. Bryce Elder, of all people, has pitched like an ace this season, thanks in part to Greg Maddux bullying him, but also introducing a cutter to give left-handed batters something else to think about. Spencer Strider's back for them, but we're still kind of waiting to see which version of Spencer Strider we're going to get. And then guys like Martin Perez, Grant Holmes are steadying the back of this rotation in a way that, again, no one ever could have expected for the Braves. On top of that, their bullpen's been amazing, with Robert Suarez and Raisel Iglesias making one of the best 8-9 punchers in all of baseball. Dylan Lee's been nasty. Rookie Didier Fuentes has been nasty. It is just weird looking at this Braves team and seeing how these unlikely contributions have come and how objectively bad the bottom of their roster is, while understanding how good the top of the roster is. Another one, I don't know if it's going to last, but right now, they feel like the team to beat in baseball. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app. And if you guys are not on Prize Picks yet, here's why you should be. The app is super simple. You just pick more or less on a few player stats, lock your lineup, and that's it. You're in. There's no complicated strategies. There's no confusing interfaces. It really is just you, your sports knowledge, and your picks. I've been having a ton of fun on Prize Picks lately, playing a lot of baseball lineups. Remember, if you guys want to see the lineups I play in real time, follow me on the app at my username right down here. Plus, we have a great Western Conference Finals going on right now. My Knicks are already in the finals. I can't wait to watch more basketball next week, and all the action's happening here on Prize Picks. But the best part, if you're a new user, you can get $50 worth of lineups on Prize Picks just for playing your first $5 lineup. Just click the link in the description of this video, download the Prize Picks app, and sign up with the promo code HMA. That's promo code HMA when you're a new user and you sign up for the Prize Picks app. And the link for that, again, is in my description. And just as a reminder, Prize Picks is available in most states: California, Texas, Florida, New York, let's go Knicks. So check it out, use the code HMA, and please only do so if you know you can play responsibly. The next huge story of this baseball season, one of the coolest things going on, is this is an all-time special rookie class. We might be looking at the best batch of Major League Baseball rookies that literally we've ever seen. Starting with a guy who's not really necessarily a rookie, but he is a rookie in Major League Baseball, Munetaka Murakami on the Chicago White Sox. He, in one fell swoop, after a weird free agency period, has legitimized this White Sox team for the first time in like half a decade. They are stretching to being an over 500 club. His 18 home runs lead the entire American League. He's introduced all of this fun and whimsy in their clubhouse. They're having these great celebrations. Like, he's a fun guy himself. He's turned himself into a leader, even just being 25 years old, and this being his first year stateside. There's definitely some big holes in his game. The strikeout rate's crazy. The swing and miss is crazy. He will have some cold stretches in the second half, but his power and his plate discipline, he is a bona fide star right now. Same with a guy like J.J. Weatherholt on the Cardinals. He's on pace for nearly a 30 home run, 20 stolen base season. He has an elite glove. Another guy, he's walked into that Cardinals team, and he's turned them from someone who we thought was going to be near the bottom of the standings to a possible playoff contender. And then just running through more great rookies right now. Trey Savage has picked up where he left off in the playoffs and World Series last year. A 1.07 ERA, helping this Blue Jays team tread water as they've dealt with just tons of injuries. Just an amazing splitter and fastball this guy has to work together. Kevin McGonigal on the Tigers. He was just one of the top prospects in baseball, and McGonigal won't even turn 22 until August. And the guy's on a 6-WAR pace, just an amazing baseball player. Sal Stewart, his 12 home runs lead all National League rookies as a really, really important piece in the middle of the Reds lineup. And Parker Messick, out of nowhere. This guy got a cup of coffee in the league last year. He was really gross, still overlooked heading into this year as kind of like a husky, big-boned, funky lefty with a really good changeup, with a really deep pitch mix. He's got a 2 ERA. He's got incredible changeup. He is now one of the frontline starters on a Guardians team that looks like they have a shot to just run away with the American League Central. I'm going to get to more rookies later, but especially these 6, very special and just an unbelievably strong rookie class we have in baseball this year. Past an amazing rookie class, we're looking at a National League Cy Young race that might go down with the ages. Starting out with Shohei Ohtani, it's just amazing what this guy can do in a baseball field. He's not even like hitting at the same level we're used to Ohtani in the past, but he has a 0.73 ERA as he's just taken 3 or 4 very fast steps forward as a pitcher, where he didn't even get back on the mound until late last season. Then we saw him pitch really well through the playoffs. Not a very good start in the World Series against the Blue Jays, but right now looks like one of the most dominant starting pitchers in the league. But I can't really say he's the most dominant, because I think right now the most dominant starting pitcher in baseball, Jacob Misiorowski on the Milwaukee Brewers. Misiorowski came up last year as this kind of long, lanky, alien-type guy who could throw 103 miles an hour with his fastball, 95 miles an hour with his slider. Then there was this weird media firestorm about Misiorowski because Major League Baseball put him in the All-Star game when he'd only been up for like a month and a half. He probably didn't really deserve it, and then he didn't really have a good second half. His command kind of went in and out. He dealt with some ticky-tack injuries. He's come back this year on a completely different level. He's right now wrapping up a month of May, where so far he has 49 strikeouts and only given up 1 earned run across 31 innings. 49 strikeouts and 1 earned run through 31 innings. That's ridiculous. He's still sitting over 100 miles an hour. His 32.7 strikeout minus walk rate is the best in baseball by far. He actually, in his second year in the big leagues, is probably a National League Cy Young favorite right now. But it will not be easy. Christopher Sanchez on the Phillies is currently riding a 37 2/3 scoreless inning streak. He hasn't given up a run the whole month of May, and just passed Cliff Lee's scoreless inning streak record with the Phillies. Chase Burns on the Reds, also a second-year pitcher like Misiorowski. 1.8 ERA, a whip under 1. Just this devastating fastball slider combo that kind of makes you think about Jacob deGrom deep in your mind. And I mentioned Chris Sale, an ERA under 2, a strikeout rate above 30%. And I'm not even mentioning Paul Skeens, who's still having a great season, but not one up to the standards we've seen of him over the last few years. This group of pitchers in National League right now is just so ridiculously dominant. It's so much fun to watch these guys every single week, and I can't wait to watch them duke it out for the Cy Young Award as we keep going this season. But all right, now gotta get some tough conversations. This one hits very close to home. The New York Mets suck. They suck. They came into the season with huge expectations after a very bold offseason where they reshuffled most of their core, let a lot of homegrown guys walk out the door, have a $350 million payroll, and are in last place with a 22-32 record. Literally, not even trying to be facetious, this is one of the worst teams in baseball. Their 643 OPS as a team is by far the lowest in baseball. They are the least productive offensive team in baseball by a long shot. And it really comes back to all those new additions they made this offseason. Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo are out the door. We don't have to rehash what happened there. They brought in Bo Bichette on a huge $42 million per year contract, and his OPS is under 600. He's looked lost for a good chunk of this season. Then they brought in Marcus Semien in that trade for Nimmo, which was really just kind of a money in the years thing. We don't have to get into it here. Marcus Semien, you figure, will at least be a good defensive second baseman and hit enough to be around league average. Marcus Semien's been a dreadful defensive second baseman so far, and he has a 580 OPS. The guy looks completely cooked. Then they brought in Jorge Polanco to be a first baseman, DH, kind of move around a little bit. He's only played 12 games this year. They also brought in Luis Robert Jr. to be their new center fielder, and he's disappeared. He had a back strain like a few weeks ago, and we've heard no updates on him whatsoever. This team is an unmitigated disaster. Also, Juan Soto missed a bunch of time. Francisco Lindor is still out. Lindor, Soto, and Bo Bichette have only been on the field for 9 games together, which I get. Yeah, that definitely hurts. But with the payroll, with the expectations, with even the talent that was assembled on this roster, this team is an absolute total joke. One of the biggest stories in baseball this year is how much of a catastrophe this Mets team has been. But the Mets are not alone in being a catastrophe. There are lots of teams who had very high expectations heading into this year that have been just completely awful. One being the Boston Red Sox. They openly are a shit show. It looks like there's been some infighting. There was a power struggle. Alex Cora was fired. Their lineup's terrible. We have wives of former players and coaches sounding off on social media. The whole thing just looks like a catastrophe over there. And on top of that, you've had steps back from guys like Roman Anthony and Jarren Duran. Garrett Crochet was bad. Now he's on the injured list. It kind of just goes on and on. They made one of the worst trades in baseball this offseason, sending out Kyle Harrison and getting back Caleb Durbin. That's statistically the worst position player in Major League Baseball. For statistically right now, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. I'm going to talk more about Harrison a little later. Then you got a team like the Orioles, another team with a very bold offseason, cashing in a bunch of chips for a guy like Shane Baz. And with that, they have a starting pitching ERA over 5. Only the Rockies have a higher ERA for their starting pitchers on the season than the Orioles do right now as we sit here at the end of May. Top of that, the Detroit Tigers, legit World Series aspirations. A team that was my World Series pick preseason. They are in last place. They have a 5-17 record. They look completely lost without Tarek Skubal. He should be back soon, but that's neither here nor there. This team is only 1 game better right now than the Los Angeles Angels and the Colorado Rockies. The Tigers are 1 game clear of the worst record in baseball. They're a mess. The Houston Astros, they're a mess. They've been playing a little bit better lately, and their lineup is tremendously good, but they have a 5.17 ERA as a team. That is the worst in baseball. The Colorado Rockies have a lower team-wide ERA than the Houston Astros. This is a team, the dynasty is over. The good times are over. I don't know what's going to happen in the next decade of the Astros. It's not going to look anything like the last 10 years. And the last disaster team, they're almost such a bummer. I don't even want to talk about them, the San Francisco Giants. I don't know how high anyone's expectations were of this team. The roster was weird. The manager whole Tony Vitello from Tech College thing was weird. And right now, they look like a team where who knows the next time they find real success. Okay, that's enough of the negativity for now because we have a lot of really exciting new surprise teams. Rebuilds that have worked out. Some teams who thought were going to be some of the worst teams in baseball are playing really good ball. And I think the biggest one right now is Chicago White Sox. This is one of the most fun teams in baseball. I talked about Murakami at the top. He's kind of invigorated, like infused this really new, fun energy into this club, and hitting 18 home runs a third of the way through the season is a big part of that. But on top of that, being above 500, massive step forward for a guy in Miguel Vargas, who they made a trade for a few years ago. Lots of development, physical and mental has happened with him, where he looks like a true middle-of-the-order bat, perennial all-star kind of guy. Colson Montgomery is a real boomer bust player, but in terms of his raw power, his athleticism, and being one of the best shortstop or even just overall defenders in baseball, he looks like a franchise cornerstone. I'm also just in love with Sam Antonacci, who plays some corner outfield, some second, some third for them. He's just the kind of rat like you'd love on a baseball team. He's ready to run through a brick wall every single play. He's getting dirty. He's arguing with umpires. He's running his mouth, but also he's playing really well, hitting the ball, impossible to strike out, getting on base really fast. Like, he is a complete treat. And those 4 guys, and especially if Kyle Teel comes back, he's been injured, then there was a setback, which is a shame, but this actually looks like a genuine core for the Chicago White Sox, which is not something this team or these fans have been able to talk about or lean on since they tore the whole thing down a few years ago, and it's really exciting. And on top of that, Davis Martin has one of the lowest ERAs in the league. I don't necessarily think that's going to continue, but he's made some real adjustments and moves forward. Grant Taylor's one of the most electric relievers in baseball in their bullpen. It's legitimately fun to be a White Sox fan right now. And then moving on, the St. Louis Cardinals, they are 29-23. I do not know how. Their rotation is not very good. Their lineup is not very good outside their first 3 guys. I'm going to talk about some of those more in a second, but the team is rolling. They're playing inspired ball, really quality baseball every single day, just doing little things right. Another team, similar, the Athletics. First place in the AL West at Memorial Day. Can't believe that. Nick Kurtz has completely put his stamp down as being one of the best players in baseball. Not even one of the best first basemen in baseball. One of the best players in baseball. He's approaching a 50-game on-base streak. It's completely unheard of. He's a true MVP candidate. Shea Langoliers similarly has asserted himself as one of the best catchers in baseball. His bat has cooled off just a tad, but he's a freak. Carlos Cortez, a journeyman, a minor leaguer who's come through a few different organizations, is ripping the cover off the ball for them. And what's crazy enough is that a lot of their lineup hasn't even clicked yet. Guys who we thought would be all-star caliber performers like Brent Rooker and Tyler Soderstrom, they're having terrible years. Lawrence Butler, he's lost his starting job, but they're getting key contributions from a lot of places. Their pitching is not good, but it's also not terrible, which is a huge deal for them. They are a very fun baseball team to watch. And then another one, talk about the fun baseball team to watch. The Washington Nationals play the most exciting brand of chaos baseball. They've changed everything about their organization in the last year. And so far this season, they have scored the most runs in baseball. And again, it's a lot of chaos. It's not very good defense. It's not very good pitching. I think they've given up the most runs in baseball as well. But when this team is hitting, you want to pay attention, especially because CJ Abrams, who's kind of meandered around waiting for that breakout the last few years since he was one of the key parts of the Juan Soto trade 4 years ago. Abrams is tied for the league lead with 46 RBIs. He's hitting home runs left and right. And on top of that, James Wood hitting leadoff, 14 home runs, 900 OPS. Those two guys are a dynamic duo at the top for the Nationals. And again, I don't know how much is going to last for any of these teams. I don't know if any of these teams are actually going to hold on enough to be in the playoff picture by the end of the season, but these are teams playing really fun baseball. And a lot of these fan bases have not had a lot to cheer about recently. And that doesn't count for you Cardinals fans. You guys don't really deserve nice things. You had like a 1-year rebuild. I kind of hope you guys fall under 500. But again, really fun baseball from all four of these teams. And then after talking about some breakout teams, we have some real breakout superstars in baseball this year. Ben Rice on the Yankees, 50 home run pace, 1,000 OPS, nearly perfect plate discipline. He is part of now what's become probably the best duo in baseball with Aaron Judge. It's amazing watching those guys hit back to back. I was talking about the Cardinals, Jordan Walker. If you guys have been playing fantasy baseball the last few years, we've been collectively waiting for this massive Jordan Walker breakout. Another guy, 50 home run pace, 300 batting average, elite bat speed, always had the tools, but he's finally lifting the ball. He looks confident. He looks like he's growing into something of a leader for this young Cardinals team. He's been a treat to watch. And another great guy, Bryce Terang. Bryce Terang, he came into the major leagues as this slap-hitting second baseman who got by on speed and defense and contact. He looked like he was going to just kind of be swinging a pool noodle his entire career. Looked like he would just statistically always be one of the worst hitters in baseball, but get by again because of that great speed and defense. Last year, he took a big step forward with the bat. This year, he's taken another huge step forward on top of that, hitting the ball harder than ever, getting to more power than he ever has. He's currently playing on a 7-WAR pace, and he still has the great speed and the great glove. He's turned into an absolute star for a Brewers team that every single year finds their devil magic, wins ball games, and they're doing the same thing right now. Just talked about a lot of hitters that are breaking out, but if you guys have come to this channel over and over again, you know that my heart lies with pitching, and we have a lot of new great aces in baseball this year. Cam Schiller on the Yankees is just like stupid good. He's added a cutter to his repertoire that's instantly become one of the best individual pitches in baseball. He's also refined the command and the feel of his sinker to give him new weapons against righties and lefties. His 1.50 ERA is the lowest in all of baseball among all qualified pitchers, and he does that by throwing a different variation of a fastball, being that cutter, sinker, or a four-seamer, like 90% of the time. This is a modern power pitcher to the highest degree, and no one has been more effective than him so far this year. On top of that, Jose Soriano of the Angels has been one of the biggest breakout stars so far. His April was phenomenal. His May, he's really come crashing back down to earth. But he has a splitter, sinker, curveball trio that is just completely diabolical. He's been really effective. One shining light for that Angels team. I've talked about him before. Kyle Harrison going from the Red Sox to the Brewers has been completely unlocked. This fastball from the left side, there's just not many guys who can throw a pitch like that. It's getting tons of swing and misses top of the zone, tunneling beautifully off this little slurve thing he has, mixing in just enough of these new changeups that he's got, 32% strikeout rate, 1.7 ERA, ridiculous. And then moving on to another favorite of my channel, if you guys have been here for a while, Braxton Ashcraft. Braxton Ashcraft right now looks like one of the most complete pitchers in all of baseball. He has this curveball he's been building up in the background for the last couple of years that's now become an elite put-away pitch to pair with his slider that has always been his calling card as a prospect. He's still sitting 96, 97 miles per hour after transitioning from the bullpen last year to the rotation full-time this year. He's 6'5", he's a 250-pound hoss who had a really slow development path to the major leagues after being a big two-way athlete in high school, a wide receiver in Texas, to then having a big chunk of his development washed out by COVID, then Tommy John surgery, and now he's come into his own and looks like an actual second ace that Pirates can pair with Paul Skeens. And then lastly, Gavin Williams, up there with Cleveland, another big-time power pitcher, bears down on you with 7 feet of extension, upper 90s velocity. His command has taken a big step up this year. He's throwing more sinkers this year, understanding his role, that he can't just be hunting for strikeouts all the time. He needs to work that sinker against righties, get weak contact, get ground balls, keep himself in the game longer. But he's gross, and he's growing up in front of our eyes. A huge reason the Guardians have had such a hot start to the season. And next, I wanted to sneak in talking about some more rookies, because the 6 guys I talked about before, they're amazing, but there are so many other exciting rookies in baseball this year. Like Travis Bazzana is now hitting leadoff for the Guardians. Number 1 overall pick a few years ago, 3 home runs, 7 steals, a .400 on-base percentage, over 25 games this year. He's kind of redefined that Guardians lineup in just a month of play. Connor Griffin, who came into the season as the consensus number 1 overall prospect, looking like he'll be the freak of all freaks, debuted at 19 years old, which again, that's crazy. Since he's turned 20, he has an over 800 OPS. He's really finally getting his feet wet and starting to be a real catalyst in that Pirates lineup as they try to make the playoffs for the first time in a while. Past that, Ryan Walshman has been a huge lightning rod for the Diamondbacks coming up for the last few weeks. Really good bat, solid defender. Carson Bench has a .315 batting average over his last 30 games for the Mets as one of the few saving graces for their season. Similar to A.J. Ewing, he's debuting like a year or two ahead of schedule, still just 21 years old, had an electric debut, really fast, great defender, finding some pop, refuses to strike out. Those two look like they're going to be in the Mets outfield together for a very long time. They make a great duo. And then Chase DeLauder, just to expand on how many impressive rookies the Guardians have, he's on a 25 home run pace with more walks than strikeouts as a rookie. That is a disgusting combination of power and play discipline. Again, for a rookie, and a guy like DeLauder, who's had amazing tools, amazing pedigree, has not been able to stay healthy. Very happy he's done so far. And now just in general, some players who've had some absolutely lightning fast starts. Some of the stars who are just being stars, while some other new breakout guys. Bobby Witt Jr. is in a 10 WAR pace right now. I don't know if he can win an MVP award if the Royals finish like 10 games under 500 like they're pacing to do, but he should. Bobby Witt Jr. to this point in his career is pacing like one of the best players in the history of baseball in terms of value, wins above replacement. I think an MVP award to add to his mantle would be a great thing at this point, and he's been so productive this year, offensively, defensively, on the bases, on a Royals team that really has no other good things to speak of. I really want Bobby Witt to get an MVP. Kyle Schwarber, business as usual, most home runs in baseball. Ellie De La Cruz on the Reds has finally taken his massive step forward. Looks like a total superstar on both sides of the ball. Liam Hicks, a Rule 5 pick by the Marlins last year, has come into his own as a hitter. He's already over 40 RBIs. He refuses to strike out. One of the most fun player profiles in all of baseball. I talked about all the Braves' success before. Matt Olson has been their driving force. On a 50 home run, 130 RBI pace, he's incredible. Corbin Carroll is just simply one of the best hitters in baseball. I have a video coming out later this week about which major league teams have already had their GOAT play for them, the greatest player of all time, which we hope hasn't had them play for it yet. Maybe it'll come in the future. And then a collection of teams that might be having their greatest player in franchise history play for them right now. I think based on his contract and how successful he is and how young he still is, Corbin Carroll has a shot to be the best player in franchise history. For a Diamondbacks team, has actually had a lot of really good players. Bryce Elder, I mentioned it, ERA under 2, whip under 1 for the Braves. Andy Pages is tied with CJ Abrams for the most RBIs in baseball. Really nice for Pages to put that disastrous playoff run in World Series behind him last year and take this massive step forward as a player. Brandon Lowe being traded from the Rays to the Pirates has been a really important cog. And again, the Pirates' upstart lineup this year, 13 home runs and 900 OPS. He has really been a driving force in that team finding success. And Otto Lopez. I love Otto Lopez, one of my favorite players in the league. He leads the league in batting average right now, playing great defense at shortstop. Looks like a guy that will get MVP votes. He is this year's Geraldo Perdomo. And then I'm going to close out really quickly now with some players who are struggling that I think it's time to actually genuinely be worried about. Jesus Luzardo has one of the highest ERAs in the league. Everything happening under the hood for Luzardo makes him seem okay, but he just cannot get away from these inconsistencies year over year. On top of that, one of my favorite guys in the league, Yuri Perez, big command issues, ERA near 5. I think he's going to iron it out, but it's really been a rough start so far. Similarly, Nolan McLean on the Mets, over his last 2 starts, he's allowed 13 earned runs, and his ERA has gone from 2.9 to 4.4. That's very different. Really scared about Nolan McLean right now. The velocity's dropping, the arm angle's dropping, the spin rate's dropping. His horizontal release point's weird. I don't know what's going on with him. And a few struggling bats to close us out. Fernando Tatis Jr. still has 0 home runs. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain that one. I don't know when he's going to get one. I hope it's soon. Cal Raleigh, before he went on the injured list, had a 161 batting average, 243 on-base percentage, and 317 slugging percentage. That is a big yikes. Vinny Pasquantino, hero of the World Baseball Classic, Mr. Espresso. His bat speed is way down this year. He's not productive. A 600 OPS is terrifying for a guy like Pasquantino. Hope he gets it going soon. Corey Seager, it looks like the Monstars stole his powers. He had a 180 batting average. Now he got hurt, and the Rangers are being really vague about his injury. and the team's not very good. It feels like Corey Seager's season might just be over. Manny Machado, another guy, looks really old right now. 170 batting average, it's just not coming together for him. It's amazing how much success that Padres team has found, while Machado, Tatis, and Jackson Merrill have all been basically zeros at the plate, but good for them. And the last guy who's really struggling, this guy should not be in Major League Baseball, Marcell Ozuna right now is statistically the least valuable player in baseball. He's the worst player in baseball. He should not have a job. He should be in jail. But that's a recap. First third of the season so far. Very new kind of content for this channel. For anyone who's been here for a while, for anyone who's new here, thank you for sticking with me. Please subscribe to the channel if you want more baseball content. It's going to be a lot of experimentation on this channel the rest of the season. So if you guys like this, make sure you drop the video a like. Let me know in the comments. But thank you all so much. I'll see you next time.